something. Let me prove that recording, and everybody, if you would like to. Yeah, I'd like to just greet you all. It's nice to have everybody here. Nice you could join us, Ray, and everybody else for that matter. Tonight we're going to talk about something extremely important. In our spiritual progress that we have through our lives, we often get stuck on some practice or spiritual sadhana, spiritual practice that we enjoy. And we think if we just stick to that one practice, it'll take us all the way. But sometimes that one practice holds us back because of many reasons. And we're going to read through something from Swami tonight that he shared with us back in the 80s. That it points to this and how to transcend the difficulties of the status quo, the spiritual status quo, as we say, and getting stuck in your particular likes and dislikes, or our particular likes and dislikes of our spiritual practice, and how to transcend that. So here we go.
So if you've been meditating for many years, you probably noticed that you go through different stages. And in January 1982, Sai Baba spoke about bhakti stage by stage. That's love, the devotion, stage by stage. So, even though, Baba says, even though one may be immersed in meditation and experiencing visions of idols, these have to be classified under a type of experience that arises out of the body, mind, and intellect, which are transient, changing, and not of a permanent nature. Experiences arising out of this body will also disappear with the body. Nevertheless, this type of bhakti is necessary as a first step. It's usually referred to when people are talking, when we're teaching different, sharing different techniques. It's name and form, and it can be very wonderful. Certainly having visions and devotion to a form is very wonderful feeling. Like Sai Baba says that that's only the first stage. I want to say anything. Traveling on this path, we should slowly march to the second step of ekanta bhakti, devotion to one's self. And that's self with the capital S, the self.
The Atman. Not the ego self, the narcissistic self, or the self that somebody says, I have to take care of myself. I have to think of myself. I need to follow my bliss. Not that.
Many people think that ekanta bhakti means dedication to an idol or form and experiencing mental vision of that one form. This is not correct. Ekanta bhakti is a subtle state achieved by effective control of the mind and experiencing one's inner self, the antar atma. It is not correct to think that control of the mind means holding it steady without wandering around. To be able to cleanse the mind of impure thoughts is the correct meaning of ekanta. Want to share?
So this is emphasizing the second step of sadhana, which is that we infuse with spirit. That's the first step. And how we do that is according to how long we've been practicing the particular sadhana and how we progress through that practice. But the second step is actually the more important one. Infusing is easy. It's easy to get high on God. What's difficult is going into the subconscious, saying to God, okay, reveal to me everything that's holding me back. Everything. And then letting go of it, because it's not the true you. It's never the true me or you. The truth of us is the witness of that God within us. All the experiences we've ever had, all the pain and happiness we've ever gone through is not the true us. It has nothing to do with the true us. It's our personality that stylized our particular life. It's our vasanas that have attracted to our personal life and experience, the people that are in it and the situations. And those vasanas are based in the karmas of the past, both in good and bad. And that is not who we are. We're not the actions and reactions and resounds and reflections of our life. We are the one that witnesses it all, watches it all, and is the same throughout it all, through deep sleep, through dreams, through waking sleep, and through meditation inwardly. So how we get to that, let's hear from Swami.
One should sit quietly and adjust the rate of inhaling and exhaling of the breath. It is important that the pace of inhaling and exhaling must be the same. By gradual practice, the number of breaths per minute must be reduced from 8 or 10 a minute to 1 or 2. You can take your own time. Proceed gradually in the process of reduction of the number of times of inhaling and exhaling. Because of the flow of thoughts in the mind, the sankalpa and the vikalpa. Sankalpas are mental resolves. I will do this. And vikalpa is a doubt. So that's what flows through the mind. So Swami says, the breathing gets affected and disturbed by this flow of thoughts in the mind. Want to say anything?
So it's important to note that there is nothing about the mind that we are. And I always like to say the mind's a complete liar. Why? Because it hides the truth and it distracts us from knowing the truth by all the attachments, desires, reactions that we have. So in terms of the mind, we are not the mind, even though from childhood, early childhood, from 0 to right through college and whatever educational process we go to, and then work even, everybody says, be smarter, be more acutely aware of what you got to do, memorize this, memorize that, we'll test you on it. And everything about the first 20 or so years of our life, maybe even more, emphasizes the mind and being identified with it. And if we are identified with our mind instead of the observer, the witness of the thoughts and feelings, like passing clouds in the sky of our consciousness, in the sky, just like the clouds in the sky, they hide the sun, but they have nothing to do with the sun in reality. The sun shines brightly whether they're there or not, but to us, we can't see it. So even like that, the thoughts and feelings that pass through our mind hide the awareness of our divinity, of our Atma, of our oneness, of the source of all that is. So to identify with it just reinforces that and makes it deeper and steeper, like mounds of snow to have to shovel away. Fact is, we are not our thoughts and feelings. Also, when we identify with those thoughts and feelings in any way, and the attachments that we have in our life through relatives and friends and jobs and roles, then the body identification is emphasized. So through the mind's identification, the body identification is reinforced, and through the body identification that is reinforced, the mind is reinforced. They're one, and they both support the ego. And the ego is complete illusion. It's complete delusion to think that we're the doer of anything and that we are independent of God. That's complete hallucination. So it's the human condition. And for that reason, it's not psychotic per se, but yeah, Sai Baba does say we're psychotic at times. So, we're completely deluded. We just don't know the truth. And we're acting from that delusion. And he says we build castles in the sky based on a primary delusion of not knowing who we are. And then we go 10 stories or more into castles and castle building. And it's ridiculous because it just hides who we really are. So to find out who we really are, pierce the veil of Maya. And this is how we continue to do it. So
So we're breathing, we're like in the beginning when we lead the meditations, there's the breathe in, hold it, and breathe out. When you're doing it yourself, you go through this state where you're breathing very consciously. Baba says have the breaths be equal, and then we practice this for many years or maybe a short time, but we find at some point where the breaths do get further, longer, and further apart. And so sometimes people get scared, that they don't think they're breathing. And people in samadhi don't breathe barely at all. So it's something that your body knows how to do. But just to relax is that slow breathing, very conscious breathing that doesn't have to be forced. It just has to be relaxed. You can relax.
So the breath goes from 12 breaths a minute before we meditate to 6 and then 2, basically. And they're equal inhalation, exhalation. And if you hold it in between, it's equal. So it's all equal. So the fact of the matter is that happens naturally when you meditate. You don't have to really force it. But to get into meditation, it's good to breathe in, hold it, breathe out, breathe in, hold it, breathe out, in whatever pace you start at, and to let it slow down that way. And then it'll take, when you start meditating, going beyond the body and the mind, the breath will naturally do what it has to do. Now, if a woman is pregnant, she shouldn't be doing this.
I did it.
That's why our kids are the way they are. Now we know.
I made sure.
You got to have breath oxygen for the children.
I did make sure.
Oh my God. I'm not commenting. It's 25 years later. I'm 29.
That's why our children are so strange. And they're strange because we're strange. So Sai Baba says, to control the breath in this manner and direct it in the proper path is a very effective method that can be followed. The tip of the tongue must gently touch the rear of the teeth. So everyone try that. It's easy.
So the idea is that if you do that, it actually makes you concentrate on the tip of the tongue touching the top of the teeth. And so your mind doesn't have room to think. It's like a trick. Some people put their tongue in the back of their mouth to do that. It's a little extreme.
But that happens naturally if you're meditating. It can happen naturally if you're meditating. It has a name yogically, but if it happens, don't panic. But also not necessary.
I have news for everyone. I have news for everyone. God is never going to kill you in meditation. However, do not ever meditate on the edge of a cliff. Because I had one person, I didn't know him, but somebody else was his teacher, and they told me he was meditating on the edge of a cliff and he was tired. So he went backward after a while, and then he went forward. So don't ever do that. But God's never going to kill you in meditation if you're smart about it.
Safe. Usually you're supposed to meditate in a nice, quiet place. The tip of the tongue must gently touch the rear of the teeth. When it is kept in this position, the thoughts in the mind become less, and one can concentrate on the control of the breath. So remember that it's concentration, contemplation, meditation. So we concentrate, either on a name, on a form of God, a name of God, on a candle flame, the light, the jyoti, or breath. There's all different things to concentrate on. And then that leads to contemplation, which is wonderful thoughts about God. So if we're doing name and form, we're doing, I love you, God, imagining the beauty of the God that you're worshiping.
Or contemplating on the fact that the whole universe is our true body. and that we just identify with this tiny little space in false, in untruth. But the fact is, our whole universe, the whole universe is our body, ain't bigger than that. Once I experienced this, that the entire universe is like the size of a golden egg. Actually, it's thought of as a golden egg, but it was an egg. And the reality of God's ocean of love was so infinite and vast that this universe, the entire thing, all the galaxies and everything in it, much less us, was just as small as an egg in comparison. And there was no limit that I could perceive of the ocean of love that God embodies as the causal universe of manifestation, you might say. And within that are all the heavens and all the golden realms and all the deepest hells. It doesn't really matter. They're all the same in reality. It's all God. But the fact is that I once experienced that, and I was very, very surprised by it.
That's contemplation. And then the next state is meditation, which is when the thoughts cease. And even those glorious feelings and thoughts, they just become one. There's nothing else, just God.
So when our mind calms down, like you try to see the sun reflected in a glass. So you have a little water in a glass, and you can see the sun. If you put it in the sun, you see the sun reflected in the water. But if you try to see the sun in the ocean, which is this water body, but it's moving all the time, so you can't really see it. Or if you try to see it in a deep well that's muddy, you can't see it. It's too muddy. So the mind is like that. It has to calm down. You have to let all the thoughts and feelings, let them go. Don't be attached to anything that the mind thinks about in meditation, no matter what it is, unless it's divine and inspires you, and then you can think about that. But you even have to go beyond that into the state of meditation by letting go of even that wonderful inspiration that, oh my God, I'm God and everything's God and it's all love and I'm love and I fill the universe and my body is the universe. Yeah, but that's not the truth. The truth is there is no I. There's only I am I. There's only that I. There's no other I. As long as we have a thought of something or experience something or have a feeling that, oh my God, this is wonderful, we're still in the ego, though very subtle. And God, our God self is beyond the ego. So we want to just let it go, let it go, let it go. Similarly, I want to say this. A lot of people, they get to their forehead and they want to open their third eye and experience, beings on the other side or angels and gods and goddesses. And good luck with that. There's an infinite array of that. It's as infinite as the material universe and beyond. And you can get lost for lifetimes in that enjoyment. It's a lot of pleasure. Gods and goddesses come and go, give you messages about yourself. Then you try to get messages for other people, which Sai Baba says never do. And, you get to be nice. You could be a psychic on Broadway. You could do anything with that. But the fact is, you want to get to here. You want to get to the crown of your head. You want to get to the crown of your head because this is where you experience the oneness. And you begin to realize I'm not the ego. And when we do dawn in the forehead as the sun travels the inner sky of consciousness, transverses it to the top of the head, because we follow that image for millions of years. It's embedded in our DNA. So easy. High noon. Just imagine it. Then the whole body automatically lights up with God, fills with God's love, God's light, even in the imagination. Doesn't matter. It's the booty now you're in. And then you don't have this problem getting distracted by this. Whatever is right for you to know intuitively from your third eye area, God shows you. And you don't need to get involved in the circus of celestial realms because it is quite a circus. And also,
as Baba says in the first paragraph.
Also, you can get fooled by the beings that are more demonic and, or lesser consciousness. And they look very similar to the gods. And, like Cecil B. DeMille type. And they look like the gods and goddesses, but if you really feel it, they're not. But they're fooling you because they have a good time doing that. And they love to screw up human beings who want to be spiritual. I've seen thousands of people get caught in that web, thousands over 50 years of meditating. So just my slight advice is go to the top of your head and don't get involved with the psychic.
So we detach ourselves from thoughts of the body and things around us, and we come to the stage when the mind is without thoughts and desires, when it can concentrate on God. In the state of ekanta bhakti, the mind is dissolved and is in a still stage. God is everywhere in everyone. When the mind is rid of all impurities, God's presence alone is experienced by people with ekanta bhakti. That's to this love of the self, the real self, God. To experience divinity in this way, this ekanta bhakti alone will help you. On any path, you may experience visions of different types. These are nothing but hallucinations and products of the imagination. That's what Al was just talking about. Without virtuous qualities, you cannot control your mind. How can you build a house without brick and mortar? To achieve purity and steadiness of mind, earnest practice is essential. Ekanta bhakti is not obtained by locking yourself in a room and worshiping an idol with devotion. This can only be called ekati bhakti. After all, the idol is only a created object. You should experience your atma or rupa and not a created object. You should have a vision of the primordial divinity whose reflection is your atma. Worshipping an idol is necessary as a first step, but do not devote all your lifetime on the first step.
Baba says it best.
By continuous training and practice of ekanta bhakti, you'll be able to know the atma within yourself. The atma is in you. You can't see it because of impurity and waves. And the impurities are these waves of likes and dislikes. They're not like all the horrible things that we think of and we think, that's like the obvious impurities.
Waves of opinions. Yeah. Like, oh my God, what's going on politically? I don't like that guy. Good luck with that one. That'll get you a world of woe.
They're very hard to meditate.
Instead of enlightenment.
So when you remove these impurities, the mind rests in a pure state. At that stage, if you turn your eye inward, you will have the vision of divinity, the sakshatkara. This is the ekanta bhakti we read about in books. It is realized only when you turn the vision inward, away from sensory objects, and experience the pure atma within. She'll do it in a few minutes.
What can be said? Roseanne and I are far from enlightenment, so don't think we're enlightened. We just like to read and share.
We do like to meditate. And we've done a lot of wrong things, so we can warn you.
You can just ask my sister how many wrong things I've done.
Ekanta bhakti is antar drishti, or inner vision, while, forgive my bad pronunciation, Bhutika bhakti is the higher drishti, or outer vision. After earning the outer vision and, the outer vision and the inner vision, Anya bhakti will be easy to attain.
Anya bhakti is the bhakti of the absolute, loving the self within all beings, knowing the oneness of that self, that you are loving within yourself and all beings. It's pranamidam, 100% outer awareness that absolute is embodied in all that is and all beings, and 100% inner awareness that the absolute is your true you, and knowing that they're one. That's Anya.
Ananya consists of surrendering to God, saying, I have no savior other than you. We think that simply by declaring, you are mother, you are father, you are friend, and you are my savior, O God of gods, that we have surrendered and are practicing Ananya Bhakti. This is only oral bhakti. Real Ananya Bhakti comes from deep inquiry into the reality of the inner self. The experience you have in the waking state and the things you see in the dream and deep sleep states are found to be illusory and transitory when you inquire into them deeply. After such inquiry, the Ananya Bhakti will come to the conclusion that in all the three states, whatever one sees is illusion. He will find that the I, which is present in all these three states, is only the Atma, and that there is no difference between this Atma and the Paramatma. If the thought of the body is not there, duality too will not be there. Where there is no thought of a second one, it is Ananya. To reach this state of Ananya, you have to go through this stage of Ekanta Bhakti. Members of the SSSIO organizations and everyone else should attempt to follow the right path and raise their own spiritual effort to the level of Ananya Bhakti. The world today is in a very bad state. The situation can improve only through astikas, who are believers in divinity. They should become prema swarupas, or forms of God, or embodiments of love, and by their sadhana, backed by patience, forbearance, and compassion, play their role in serving society and contributing to the betterment of the world. God is present in you and is viewing with 1,000 eyes what you do. Even if no one else is seeing, God is always watching your actions. Do everything with this awareness. January 23rd, 1982.
All right.
Questions?
Yeah, if anybody has a question, please feel free to open your mic and share that question. Okay.
Okay, they want to meditate.
All right.
Want to experience.
Let's have the meditation. I'm thinking that my floor is tilted, and I just noticed it. So I'm going to try to untilt it because it can get people feeling a little dizzy, and I think that might be a little bit better than what it was. So excuse us, I didn't see it until we were sitting. Next time I'll correct it even more. Okay, so Roseanne.
No, you do it first because I was just talking.
Okay, I'm going to lead you first, and then Roseanne will take it up. So let's all do a little pranayama first. This is not something that I'd normally share here, but we're going to share it tonight, which is the circular breath up the left, out the right, that Swami gives us to enter into meditation. So we take our right hand, right thumb, and we close the right nostril, and then we breathe up the left. We hold it equal to the breath that we breathed in, and then we breathe out the right, equal to the breath we breathed in. Closing the left with the two middle fingers of the right hand. And then once again, we close the right nostril and breathe up the left. You can close both nostrils if you like it, hold it, and then breathe out the right. Equal breaths and equal holding. Once again, breathing up the left. Holding. And then breathing out the right. And let's do this on your own for one more minute to calm the mind down. For those of you who have a cold, you can't do it because you can't breathe well. So it's all right. Okay, now let's do something that's called dharana, which Swami shared with us. When he first shared it, he said, just look at your thumb for 11 seconds or so and try to get up to 2.5 minutes. And all the students were walking around the ashram looking at their thumb. It's really weird. But the fact is, let's pick a spot in the room you're in and then just gaze at that open eye. When the mind wanders and you notice, come back gently, easily, effortlessly, just like in meditation, without criticism or judgment of the mind for wandering, to own in the mind. And if the mind's empty, just stay with that. So pick a spot, open eye gazing, blink as little as possible. Let's do this for a couple of minutes. Okay, very good. You might notice that if you do that from the heart rather than the mind, it's much easier. So let's close our eyes. Keep the back comfortably straight, head comfortably erect. Let's close our eyes, get comfortable so you won't have to move for the next 45 minutes or so. Relax. This is easy, really. Let go of the tension of the day that's in the body. Be aware of letting the mind relax, the teeth relax, the face relax, the stomach relax, the shoulders relax. Go through your body one area at a time and just let go of the tension you've been holding, if you are, that you've been holding all day. Let the stomach protrude, let the shoulders droop, let the thighs fall into the floor. And now let's follow our breath as if we have a nose in the center of our chest, in our heart center where we point to ourselves as me. Follow the breath in, thinking so. Hold it a moment, thinking hum, breathing out. Equal breaths, equal holding, still. So hum means I am that I am, the witness, the Atma, that is the witness of all that is. All our thoughts, feelings, our body's actions, our experiences. We are that. The witness of all that is. Taking so, breathing in, holding it, taking hum, breathing out. When the mind wanders and you notice, come back gently, easily, effortlessly to the point where you last left off. With the breath, without criticism or judgment of the mind for wandering, just continue from there. Remember, the mind wanders for two reasons. One is that it's its nature to know everything about everything and keep us safe, fed. And also it wanders because when we release karmas of the past, stress of the present, stress of the past. And the mind's kicked into thoughts and feelings and wanders away from the point of concentration. So just come back gently, easily, effortlessly. No judgment, no criticism. Let's continue to concentrate. So breathing in, holding it, breathing out. And as we do it, you can feel that expansiveness inside, that feeling of expansion coming about. And when you feel that, let the breath become the breath of love, the breath of peace. I'm thinking I'm breathing in God's love, God's peace that I swim in as an ocean, the ocean of life, all around me, God's love and peace. And I hold that love and peace, and it combines with the love and peace within me. Sai Baba says, God is in you, all around you, beside you, above you, below you, all around. And then breathe out that love and peace to everyone, all beings, like their light of love, like their soul's lamp. Bring peace to earth and beyond. And keep the eyes closed or half open if you like, but not fully open. Stay with the practice. Go deeper. Go within. Truth lies within us. Breathing in love, breathing in God's peace, breathing it out to the whole world. And if it helps to see Baba or any form of God you adore in your heart center and doing this, that is fine. Do that. Part of the path inward. Go through the form of the Sadguru, form of God you worship and adore. The mind wanders, and you notice as we're still concentrating. Bring it back gently, easily, effortlessly. Back to the point of focus and continue where you last left off. God's the one that's doing the meditation. God is the only doer. Surrender to that. God within you knows how to meditate. God within you knows how to cleanse the subconscious mind. Just turn it over to God, to Baba, Shiva, Vishnu, Jesus, to Mary, whoever you adore. As you feel your heart center in the altar, the heart, in the temple of the body mind, fill up with love and peace and share it with other beings, all who come to mind, whole world, whole universe. And imagine going beyond the breath, leaving the breath behind, that there's a candle flame in your heart, a very small one at first, or a miniature sun. And then this lotus of the heart center, filled with that light, it expands, grows deeper, brighter, warmer, not hot, but just cooling warmth of love. Let it grow, let it flow. And you can have Om in the mind, or Om in your mantra if you like. Om in the mind, between the heart's love and the light within it, and the peace within it, and the Om in your mind, you walk down the inner road, inward road back home. These two guardrails keeping you on that path. The Om in the mind. You're not thinking Om, come to the light in your heart. However you feel comfortable. Light in your heart becomes like the sun in the sky, even brighter, stronger, fuller. Never does it get eclipsed. There's only God there. Now, as you concentrate on that, you can think at the glory within you, how wonderful it is that God itself, ourself, resides within you. I don't know what God's pronouns really are. You could say itself if you like, or themselves if you like, but it's only one self within all beings. Let that fullness come into feeling world, to the Buddhi. I'm one with God, my own inner heart. And that God's love flows through my entire body, from the tips of the toes to the top of the head, fills me and thrills me with the ecstasy of love, the glory of peace. I am that. Go on like that for a while. Don't let the mind wander away now. You are in the driver's seat of concentration, no one else. Your thoughts and feelings cannot distract you from the glory of which you are, who you are. I am that I am, glory of love and body, glory of God. I am not the mind's thoughts. I am not the mind's feelings. I am not this body-mind phase. I am the eternal, embodied love. I am love embodied. Let it fill you up. An empty glass fills up with water. All the cells and atoms enlightened by the divine. And you, all around you. And flow through the torso, the shoulders, the arms, the hands, fingers, to the neck. As if it's all hollow, filled with love, filled with God. God is love, love is God. From the back of the neck to the front of the forehead. Pineal and pituitary glands of the brain lit up, the whole brain lit up, the whole face and head lit up. Purifies the senses. Let God within you do his work, her work, its work. And that I am. Oh. Takes us home. Glory. If you like, you can imagine the sun at dawn in your forehead, transversing the inner sky of consciousness to high noon at the top of the head. Visualize that crown of love and light upon your top chakra, and from within it, reaching to the sun at high noon. God reaches to us and we reach to God in the seventh chakra. Sahasrara chakra opens fully to love and light and the truth of life. Don't bother with the third eye. Come to God. God will provide you with whatever you need. God within and all around. I am that I am. Keep letting go into that as Roseanne continues.
Let yourself continue to be the object of your meditation, your real self. beyond form. With each breath, go deeper inward. Self-luminous light of God. The one without a second is our self. Go deep within. Who am I? By these thoughts, see through it. See through the thoughts. What reality do they have? I am. There's no thought that can contain God. Go deep, look within. The Atma that shines within us. Beyond name. Beyond form. Who am I? Who is it that's beyond waking and sleeping and dreaming? Who am I? Experience it now. Eternal now. Beyond words, beyond thoughts. Who is it that I'm surrendering to? Feel it. Who is the self that I've surrendered to? I trust. My faith grows. Who is it? Who am I? Who am I surrendering to? Who is it that watches with 1,000 eyes? Who is it that exists everywhere? There's nowhere that God is not. Is it? It's not a thought. Who is it that I'm surrendered to? Feel the love come. There's no one to surrender to. There's only oneness. Feel the love that is everywhere. There's no one to love. There's only oneness. Only one. Only one love shines in millions, billions of faces. Who is it that's this love? I am. Feel yourself expanding the self, now boundaries. Only one. If the mind goes back into duality, just ask it, who is this? Who am I? It's this duality, this illusion, separateness. I am I. Nothing else exists. Nothing but God. Just expands glory, oneness. There's no one else, nothing else. Only God. Feel your divinity. Just love God with all your heart. There's nothing else. This perfection. There's nothing outside of this perfection. We are perfect. Now we're going to bring this reality, the true reality, back to our body-mind complex. Bring all this love, this vastness, visualize the form that you love the most, as big as the universe. Keep the oneness. We let ourselves come back, looking so wonderfully at our beloved. Our eyes are full of love. We know that we're totally, completely protected and loved and guided. Feel inside that you're bowing down to this universal, wonderful being, God. All the love is shining in us. You just feel this divine happiness and peace. Just merge in love. Since we have to come back in our bodies, let's invite our God, our form of God that we love, into our heart. They're always there. Let's be conscious as we feel the breath within us. Feel ourselves breathing in. Our heart is full of this love of God. And just slowly breathe in and out. Stay at your own pace. Coming back into the body. Mind feels happiness and peace. The body is filled with peace and good health. We take all this love and we shine it into our families. They're perfect in God's light. Our friends, perfect in God's love. whole world shining like a wonderful blue ball of light, oneness and tranquility. All humans, all animals, all beings, all plants, to the tiniest, tiniest organisms, are all pulsing with love. They're all God. Let's treat everyone with the same love that we feel now. Know that God has a plan. The outside world looks very strange, but we know that the reality is that God is doing everything, speaking through us, looking through us, acting through us. And that everything is right. Everything's a lesson for us. We take it in and we just love. Just love everyone. And keep on breathing. Feel your feet on the floor. Coming into the body. Bring all this God perfection into your body. It's no disease, only God, only perfection. Perfect in God's light. God knows the answer to every problem. Let's just let God work it out. Breathing in and coming into the body. Let's take a few more minutes. Let's nicely come into the body. Feel yourself breathing. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, so much for this wonderful oneness, this truth of who we are. Thank you for showing us ourselves. We can never be the same. Never complaining. Only looking deeply to see the reality in everything. Let's breathe and come back into your body.
May God bless all beings with love and light. And in this way, may all beings be happy, healthy, prosperous. May their dreams come true that are good. May all their needs be met and prosperity come to all beings in every way. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. The oneness of love, and in living that, we praise God. Thank you. Can you open your eyes when you feel comfortable? Does anybody have anything they would like to ask about, share, or say? Please feel free to open your mic and do that now.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
Sorry. Could you share some of your personal experiences with Baba, please?
No, there is no person here. That being said, I am not enlightened. So, Aham Brahmasmi is the only state of enlightenment I would ever acknowledge as truth. But the fact is, okay.
But it was very easy to feel it with him.
That being said, one time we were with Swami and we asked him about World War II. I shared this and what happened to the Jewish people in the Holocaust and everything like that. And he said this: there are no victims. God only understands the reasons why. Humans can never really understand the reasons why. God knows the reasons why. And I was standing like 1 foot from Swami when he said it. It was during Hanukkah celebration that Swami had for the Jewish people in 1980, when he put the Jewish star on the symbol and said, use this Jewish star in all places outside India for the symbol. Of course, that changed because there was some controversy from other people, and he put the human values in instead. But whenever we use the sign and the symbol, we always, if we would include the interfaith symbol, we include Judaism. So, and that is what Swami requested. Then, 12 years later or so, 11 years later, after Roseanne and I got married, we had another interview. There were a few in between, but this interview was particularly significant. There was a bit of chaos going on in the world and in the ashram even. And we asked Swami, is everything God's will? And he replied, everything is God's will, even the way the blades of grass blow in the wind. The only doer is God, and it's only God's will. So then we left the interview, and I shared that with friends and others. And one of my friends from California or something said, well, you know, when I yell at my wife, is that God's will? I don't think that's God's will. I think that's just my ego. And that's not God's will. Go ask Swami. I said, it took over 10 years to get this question out. I'm going to go ask Swami. It'll take another 10 years. Well, 3 days later, Swami called us in again. This time with the Iranians, believe it or not. And he made us all sit in a room that was no bigger than 12 by maybe 10 feet. And there were like 30 people in that room. And the only way we could all fit in that room, and it might have been even smaller, was to sit on each other's laps. So all the women were sitting on, the women were sitting on that, and the women were sitting on their laps, and all the men were sitting there and on the men's lap. So I was sitting on an Iranian guy's lap, and we, you know, vice versa, everything that way, except for Roseanne, who stood up in the back because
in the doorway. I didn't which was okay. I had so many interviews.
We were all kind of listening to Swami and laughing and gathering together, and nobody saw anyone as an Iranian or an American. And it was only Americans and Iranians in the room. And we were fighting at that time, you know, Iran.
Countries, but not the people.
Not the people. So then the lights went out completely. And all you could see is this incredible white glow coming from Swami. And everyone's face was lit up in that white glow.
Beautiful.
And then the lights came back on. And then Swami just sat there like, all right, the lights came back on, you know, being as humble as apple pie and beyond. You know, when you ask Swami, we asked Swami during Christmas, what is your relationship to Jesus? And he looked down, he went, I'm the one who sent them. Kind of profound. And he just looked down, you know, very humbly, I'm the one who sent them. You know, if it was me, I'd go, I sent him. Or something similar to that. Nobody would ever think of asking me what's my relationship to Jesus, except maybe my dog or something. But The fact of the matter is, Swami said the next day that in that interview, I got to ask him, toward after the lights went out, I said, Swami, said everything's God's will. But what about when a husband yells at a wife out of anger, obviously ego? He said, just bubbles, meaning the bubbles, the foam of Maya, nothing more, not important.
We don't have to react.
Good, bad, and the ugly, it's all God. He didn't say that, but that's how I translated it. Then, 10 years or so later, somebody else asked him, well, what about World War II? How come all those people died? Why'd you have World War II anyway? And he said, well, how else were Genghis Khan's hordes and all the others that committed murder, rape, pillaged, plundered their way through Europe and other countries supposed to get into the New Age?
I see.
So, everything is karmic repayment, debt repayment, bouncing back, attraction, distraction, reaction, resound, reflection. Everything is that. And here we are, suffering the ills of the world, present day, because of the same phenomena. But there are no victims.
But you have to believe in reincarnation for that. If you don't, it's a little rough.
If anybody doesn't believe in reincarnation, good luck with that.
It's very scary.
You think this is the only life? What happened to Mozart when he was 4?
It is something that I think everyone has to sort of discover within themselves that, especially when you meditate, that there's some other thing happening that is, why are we like the way our personalities are? What are the vasanas, our tendencies from lifetime to lifetime that we carry with us and that come up in the mind when we meditate constantly. So we're
Swami once said,
frying the seeds.
all those who are with me in this present day as Satya Sai Baba have been with me for thousands of years. And now comes the culmination. And then he said, later down the road, this phenomena of Shirdi Sai Baba, Satya Sai Baba, and Prema Sai Baba incarnating, God incarnating as the avatar in a tri-life, physical life incarnation, has never happened before in the history of the universe and will never happen again. And it is the culmination of a great deal of goodness from the part of the devotees that I am here. And when I'm here, I will accomplish, later down the road, he said, I will accomplish what I will. And not even if every being in the entire universe stands up before me and opposes me, can that will be changed in any way. What I will is like iron, and it will happen. And I will that there will be peace on earth for all beings, happiness, and the golden age of God. That is my will. So, let's see.
So we don't have to worry. Sai Baba's already done it.
What's your name? Nani? How do you pronounce your name? Nani?
My name is Nalini.
Nalini. It's hard for me to speak.
The screen.
Nalini.
Yes.
God in the form of Nalini, not goddess, just God straight up. In the form of Nalini, we recognize our oneness of love.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking that question.
Thanks. I do remember listening to a talk that Baba had given to Western devotees. And there also he mentioned, there is no good, there is no bad, there's only God.
Mm-hmm.
That sentence. So
Yes.
what you're saying is essentially the same thing.
Yes.
Right.
I like to say the good, the bad, and the ugly in honor of Clint Eastwood.
Yes,
It's all God.
Dr. Hislop was a close devotee of Sai Baba's in the 70s, I think he met him. And he gave an example of that we sit in a movie theater and we watch the movie and we get all emotionally involved, and there's bullets flying and bombs blow, you know, and all this stuff happening, and we're upset. And then the movie's over, and then there's just the screen is left. And the screen doesn't have any bullet holes. There's no dirt on it. It's just a pure white screen. And he said that's how you think of God, is that all this stuff happens to us. We go through our lives, we have fights with our husbands or wives, we go to work and suffer and have drudgery and have happiness sometimes and sadness a lot, and go back and forth between boredom and anxiety. You know, all those stupid feelings that human beings have, and none of that. It's like the white screen of the movie, you know, there may be shooting, but there's no bullet holes in the screen. It's our self has no real reaction to any of this. It's all just to keep us in the middle without reaction, and to learn how to love.
And he did say, help wherever you can.
Yeah, I mean, that you have to do. But as far as our own suffering and reactions go, look at it like the screen.
The Atla's the screen. That's who we really are. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining in. Sai Prasanna, can you close?
Thank you. Saira.
Sure. Thank you so much, brother and sister. This has been another beautiful session that we look forward to every month. Let's thank Swami. Dear Swami, thank you for taking us to the deepest core of our own selves through this meditation session. As Brother Al and Sister Roseanne guided us through this journey where we discovered you, your glorious presence. Please help us to keep this experience and relive this experience as we practice this every day until we meet again. Please be with us, Swami, and guide us to enjoy your presence every moment. Om Shanti.
Shanti, Shanti.
Yes, Sai Ram, thank you all.
Thank you again, brother, and
Yes,
God bless.
thanks.